The human traveler walked slowly through the ruins of an alien colony. The air was cold, the sky heavy with dust. Broken towers leaned like dying trees, and strange sounds echoed in the empty streets. Once this place had been full of life. Now, it was silent, almost like a graveyard. He had come here searching for supplies, water, food, maybe fuel for his small ship. But what he found was far more unexpected. From the shadows, something moved. At first he thought it was only the wind, pushing broken metal across the stone, but then he heard it. Soft, broken sobbing. He froze. Sobbing meant someone alive was still here. Carefully he followed the sound, hand resting on the old weapon at his side. And then he saw her. An alien woman knelt beside a wall, her thin body shaking. Her skin was pale, almost silver, marked with strange blue veins that glowed faintly. Her eyes, wide and desperate, lifted to him. In her arms was a small child, frail, weak, hardly breathing. The human stopped, his chest tightening. He had seen suffering before in many places on many worlds, but something in the woman's eyes struck deep inside him. It was a mother's fear, the kind that no barrier of language could ever hide. She whispered, her voice trembling. "Please, human, save my child. I cannot feed him." Her words were broken, but clear enough to understand. The human took a step closer, studying the child. The boy's skin shimmered faintly, glowing with strange marks that spread slowly across his body. His breathing was shallow, his lips dry. It looked like life was slipping away with every second. The mother's arms tightened around the boy. She bowed her head, shame and helplessness in her voice. "I have no milk, no food, nothing left. I am empty. He will die." The human felt a wave of unease. This was not his fight, not his problem. He was just a traveler passing through. Helping meant danger. Helping meant he could get trapped in something far bigger than himself. But then the child coughed, a weak, pitiful sound. His small hand reached out, shaking, and brushed against the human's boot. Something inside the human broke. He could not walk away. He knelt down slowly. "What happened here?" he asked, his voice steady but quiet. The mother's silver eyes filled with tears. "War. Hunger. My people ran. I stayed for him. But now, I cannot keep him alive." The human looked around. The ruins were silent, but the feeling in the air was heavy. This place was not just abandoned, it was dangerous. Whoever had destroyed this colony might still be watching. He looked at the child again. His glowing marks pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. The human frowned. He had seen many alien children before, but never one like this. Something about the glow felt unnatural. Or maybe too natural. Too powerful. "Why me?" he asked carefully. "Why trust a human?" The alien mother leaned closer, whispering as if afraid the ruins themselves were listening. "Because no one else will help. My people fear him, they call him cursed, but I know he is not cursed, he is different, special. Only you can save him." Her words chilled him. Different, special, cursed. He felt the weight of something bigger than hunger and sickness. The child stirred, his eyes half opening. For a moment, the human saw a spark of light inside them, a glow like distant stars. The boy's lips parted, and a faint whisper escaped. "Hun, man." The traveler's heart stopped. The child could speak his word. The mother clutched her son tightly. "Please," she begged again, tears falling. "He is all I have. Without you, he dies." The human's mind raced. Take them, and he could face enemies, danger, even death. Leave them, and he would carry the guilt forever. A sound broke the silence, a distant metallic clang echoing through the ruins. The human snapped his head up, his instincts sharp. Someone else was here. The mother's eyes widened in terror. She whispered urgently, "They are coming. They want him dead." The human rose to his feet, scanning the shadows. Figures were moving in the distance, their armor glinting faintly in the dusty light. Soldiers. The child whimpered and clung to his mother. The glowing marks across his skin shone brighter, as if reacting to the danger. The human clenched his jaw. There was no more time for choice. He had to act. He reached down, pulling the mother and child to their feet. "Come with me," he said firmly. The mother gasped, relief and fear mixing in her voice. "You will help?" "Move," the human barked, gripping his weapon. Together they ran through the broken ruins, the sound of armored boots growing louder behind them. As they fled, the child's glow lit the path ahead like a faint lantern, in the darkness, but it also made them a target, a beacon for anyone hunting them. The human's heart pounded. He had no idea what the boy truly was, or why soldiers were after him. But one thing was clear: this child was not ordinary, and the galaxy was not going to let him live in peace. Cliffhanger ending. For Part 1. As the human, the alien mother, and the glowing child rush through the ruins, the soldiers' voices echo. "Closer. Find the boy. Don't let the human escape with him." The human realizes this is no accident. He has just stepped into a war he does not yet understand. The ruins shook with every echoing footstep of the soldiers. Their metallic voices carried through the air like a nightmare. "Find the child. Do not let the human escape." The human traveler's breath came fast as he guided the alien mother and her glowing son through broken alleys. The boy's faint light kept showing the way forward, but it also made them easy to track. Every time the glow brightened, the human cursed under his breath. "Cover it," he whispered to the mother. She pulled part of her torn robe over the boy, but the glow still leaked through like fire behind thin cloth. The human glanced back. Shadows moved behind them, soldiers closing in. His mind worked fast. He had to find shelter even for a few minutes. They turned a corner and slipped into a collapsed building. Dust rained down as they crouched low. The human held his weapon ready, his ears sharp. The mother clutched her child tightly, her eyes wild with fear. "They will not stop," she whispered. "They hunt him day and night. They believe his blood brings ruin." The human frowned. "Why?" he asked sharply. "Why is a child so important? What makes him dangerous?" The mother looked down at her son. Tears slid down her pale cheeks. "Because he is not only my child. He is the last of something greater." The boy stirred in her arms. His glowing marks pulsed like stars, soft but alive. For a moment, the human felt the air shift, heavy, almost vibrating. "What do you mean?" the traveler pressed, his voice firm. The mother met his gaze. "Long ago, my people ruled the stars. We had ships that moved faster than light, weapons that no empire could stop. But we fell. Enemies feared us, and they destroyed everything. Only a few of us survived. My child. He carries what they feared most. His bloodline. His gift." The human felt his skin crawl. "Gift?" Before the mother could answer, the boy suddenly coughed. His small body shook and the glowing marks spread brighter across his skin. His eyes opened, glowing with light like burning suns. The human gasped, pulling back slightly. The boy's voice was weak but clear. Man, help." The air around them shimmered. Dust floated upward as if gravity itself trembled. The walls groaned. The mother grabbed her son's hand, whispering urgently, "Stay calm, my child. Stay calm." Slowly, the glow faded, and the dust fell again. The boy slumped in his mother's arms, breathing weakly. The human stared, shaken. "What was that?" The mother's voice was soft, filled with sorrow. "The power of our ancient blood, the power that makes him hunted." The human rubbed his temple, trying to understand. "So they're not chasing you because of war. They're chasing you because of him." "Yes," she whispered. "They call him cursed. They fear he will bring back what was lost. They fear he will grow strong. That is why they want him dead. The human felt the weight of her words pressing into his chest. A child with power strong enough to shake the air. A bloodline hated and hunted across the galaxy. He had stumbled into something far larger than himself. And yet as he looked at the boy, frail, sick, clinging to life, he did not see a weapon or a curse. He saw only a child who wanted to live. He whispered to himself, "He's just a boy." The mother shook her head. "He is more. And only you can save him." The human frowned. "Why me?" Her voice broke. "Because humans are different. Your kind does not fear him. You do not see him as a curse. That is why I prayed one of your people would come, and you did." The human's heart tightened. He wanted to argue, to say she was wrong, that he was no savior. But deep inside, he knew she was right. A sudden noise cut through their quiet moment, the sound of armored boots outside. The soldiers were near. The human peeked through a crack in the wall. 3 soldiers marched down the street, scanning with glowing visors. He turned back to the mother. "We can't stay here." She nodded quickly, pulling the child closer. The human led them out through the back, stepping carefully over rubble. The boy's glow dimmed now, hidden, but the danger only grew. They moved deeper into the ruins until they reached an underground tunnel. The human helped them climb down into the darkness. The smell of damp stone and rust filled the air. For a while, silence reigned. Only the sound of dripping water and their breathing echoed. Finally, the boy stirred again. He reached out toward the human, his small fingers trembling. The human hesitated, then took his hand gently. The glow returned, small, soft, like the light of a candle. And in that moment, the human felt warmth spread through his skin, through his bones, deep into his heart. It was not just light, it was life. His eyes widened. The boy's touch carried something more than power. It carried healing, comfort, something almost holy. The human pulled his hand back slowly, staring. The boy had given him strength, even if only for a moment. The mother watched silently, her face full of sorrow and hope at once. Now the human understood why they hunted this child. He was not only special, he was a key to something the galaxy feared and desired. And now, by saving him, the human had painted a target on his own back. Footsteps echoed in the tunnel behind them. Lights flashed against the stone. The soldiers had found their trail. The human gripped his weapon tightly, his heart pounding. He knew what came next. He looked at the mother and the boy. "Stay behind me," he said, voice hard. The glow of enemy. Lights grew closer, filling the tunnel with shadows. The human raised his weapon, ready to face what was coming. The tunnel shook with noise. Boots slammed against the stone. Harsh voices echoed in the distance. "Find them. The child cannot escape." The human tightened his grip on his weapon. He had faced soldiers before, but this felt different. They were not hunting food or territory. They were hunting blood, the blood of a small child. Beside him, the alien mother pulled her son close. The boy's glow flickered nervously like a candle in strong wind. The human whispered quickly, "We can't fight them head on. We need to move." The mother nodded, her silver eyes wide with fear. They ran deeper into the tunnel. The walls were cracked and wet, water dripping down in steady beats. The air smelled of rust and rot. Every step echoed too loudly, and the human cursed under his breath. Behind them, the voices grew closer. "They went this way." The boy whimpered softly. His small voice trembled. "Hun. Man." The human slowed for a second, looking back at him. "Stay quiet, little one. I've got you." The boy's glow pulsed, dimming as if trying to obey. They reached a fork in the tunnel. 2 paths stretched into darkness. The human paused, listening. His ears caught the faint hum of machinery down the left path. "Old power lines," he muttered. "Maybe there's a way out." They turned left, hurrying through the darkness. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, filled with broken machines. and rusted pipes. It looked like an old underground station. The mother gasped softly. I remember this place. Long ago, my people used these tunnels to hide from raids. The human glanced at the machines. Most were dead, but one console blinked faintly with weak light. He rushed to it, pressing buttons. The screen buzzed alive, for a second showing strange alien symbols. Then it died again. Damn, he muttered. The boy stirred in his mother's arms. His glowing hands reached out toward the console. Before the human could stop him, the boy touched the metal. The entire room lit up. Machines whirred. Lights flickered to life. Old fans began to spin, blowing dust into the air. A hidden door in the wall slid open with a loud grinding sound. For human stared in shock. He powered it. With a touch. The mother whispered. His gift. Even the dead answer him. The boy's glow dimmed again as he slumped, exhausted. The human didn't waste time. Come on, before they find us. They rushed through the hidden door into another tunnel. This one was narrower, the ceiling lower. The sound of boots echoed faintly behind them, closer than ever. The human's chest tightened. He could hear the soldiers' scanners buzzing. They are near, one voice said. Voice. The child's energy signature is strong. The mother whispered urgently. We must hurry. The human guided them through the tight passage, his weapon ready. Suddenly, a beam of light cut through the tunnel behind them. The soldiers had arrived. Blaster fire exploded, striking the walls. The tunnel shook. Down! The human shouted, pulling the mother and child behind a pillar of stone. Dust rained from the ceiling. The soldiers advanced, their armored suits glowing with red visors. The human leaned out, firing his weapon. A soldier fell, sparks flying. Another dodged and returned fire. The tunnel lit up with flashes of light. The mother shielded the boy with her body, whispering prayers under her breath. The human gritted his teeth. He was outnumbered. They couldn't stay. He glanced at the far end of the tunnel. A faint light glowed. An exit. Move! He shouted, grabbing the mother's arm. They ran, blaster shots chasing them. The boy's glow flickered again. Brighter, now. The walls vibrated. Rocks cracked. The human glanced at him. Not now, kid, hold it back. But the child couldn't control it. His glowing mark spread across his skin and the air itself began to hum. A sudden burst of energy exploded from the boy's body. The tunnel shook violently. Soldiers stumbled, their weapons flying from their hands. The human dragged the mother forward as stone crashed behind them. The tunnel collapsed, burying the soldiers under rubble. For a moment, silence returned. Only the sound of their heavy breathing filled the air. The mother kissed her child's head, tears streaming down her face. You saved us, she whispered. The human looked back at the destroyed tunnel, his jaw tight. No, he bought us time, but they won't stop. They'll send more. They finally reached the exit, a cracked opening that led into the night. Outside, the ruins stretched endlessly under a dark sky filled with stars, but in the distance lights glimmered. Not stars, ships, enemy ships, scanning the surface. The mother gasped. They are everywhere. The human's mind raced, running. On foot would be suicide. They needed a ship. As if answering his thought, the boy stirred again. His glowing hand pointed toward the ruins of an old hangar nearby. The human squinted. It looked abandoned, but he trusted the boy's instinct. Let's try it, he said. They ran across the broken ground, slipping into the hangar. Inside, covered in dust and webs, was an ancient alien vessel. Its hull was cracked, but its design was powerful, sharp, built for speed. The human's eyes widened. This could work, if it still runs. He climbed inside, checking the controls. Nothing. Dead. The mother's face fell. It has slept for 100 years. It will never fly. The boy, however, crawled weakly from her arms toward the console. His small hand pressed against the controls. The ship shuddered. Lights flickered on. Engines hummed. The old vessel came, alive as if it had only been waiting for his touch. The human stared in disbelief. He woke it up. The mother's voice trembled. It answers to him. Only to him. Before the human could speak, alarms blared outside. The enemy ships had detected the power surge. Floodlights shone on the hangar. Soldiers shouted as they surrounded the building. The human jumped to the pilot's seat, yelling, "Strap in! We're not staying here!" The mother held her son close, strapping into the seat beside him. The boy's glow pulsed stronger, his eyes half open. The engines roared. Dust and debris swirled around them. Outside, soldiers raised their weapons. The human grinned grimly. "Let's see if this thing still knows how to fly." He pulled the controls. The ship shook, rising from the ground. Soldiers fired, but the vessel's shields flared, blocking the blasts. The ship tore through the hangar, roof into the night sky, but above them enemy warships turned their guns. The alien vessel shook as it climbed through the dark sky. Metal groaned, dust rattled from the old panels, and the engines screamed like beasts waking from long sleep. The human gripped the controls tightly. His hands moved fast, adjusting levers and buttons, though half of them were unfamiliar. The ship responded unevenly, like a tired animal forced to run. Behind him, the alien mother held her son close. The boy's glowing hands rested on the console, his small body trembling. Yet every time the ship shuddered, his glow pulsed and the vessel steadied itself. The human noticed. He glanced at the boy and muttered, "It's not me keeping this thing alive, it's him." The mother nodded, her silver eyes full of both fear and pride. "He was born for this. My ancestors built these ships. They said only their blood could awaken them." The human's jaw tightened. That meant this boy was more than just a child. He was the key to technology long lost. Technology entire empires would kill for. But there was no time to think. An alarm blared across the console. Red lights flashed. The enemy flagship above them had locked on. "Hold on!" the human shouted. The ship jolted sideways as beams of plasma tore through the air where they had been a second earlier. The mother screamed, clutching her son. The human fought the controls, diving low, weaving between the ruins below. The flagship's cannons fired. Again. Explosions lit up the night, shaking the ground with thunder. The human cursed under his breath. "This ship's too old for a fight. We won't survive another hit." The boy stirred weakly, his glowing eyes opening halfway. His small fingers pressed harder against the console. Suddenly, the ship's systems roared to life. The weak hum became a thunderous engine song. Panels lit up with alien symbols and power surged through the vessel. The human blinked, stunned. What did he do?" The mother whispered in awe. "He has awakened the core. The heart of the ship answers only to him." The vessel leapt forward faster than before. The engines burned bright blue, leaving trails of light behind them. The human felt his chest press back against the seat as the ship sliced through the sky. Enemy fighters broke away from the flagship, chasing them. Sleek crafts darted after, firing streaks of energy. The human rolled the vessel sharply. The old hull creaked, but the ship moved like a predator finally freed from its cage. He dodged blasts, twisted through the air, and dove between mountains of stone. Yet every time his reflexes slipped, the boy's glow corrected the ship, tilting it, just in time steering it away from death. The human realized he was not alone at the controls. The boy was flying with him. The mother looked at her son, tears glimmering in her eyes. He was never meant to hide. He was meant to lead. The human gritted his teeth, focusing on survival. Leader or not, if we don't lose them, he won't live long enough to prove it. He banked hard toward the horizon, searching for escape. The sensors beeped rapidly. More enemy ships closed in, surrounding them like wolves. The boy's glow brightened again, flooding the cabin with white-blue light. Suddenly, strange alien symbols appeared across the console, glowing the same color. The human squinted. "What is this?" The mother's voice trembled. "The ship is unlocking, showing him paths that only our kind could read." The symbols shifted into star maps, strange routes twisting through space. One symbol pulsed brighter than the rest, like a beacon calling them. The boy touched it with his small hand. The ship shuddered, and then leapt forward with impossible speed. Stars blurred into streaks of light. The enemies behind them vanished. The human gasped, his stomach lurching as reality itself bent around them. When the ship finally steadied, they were no longer above the ruined colony. They floated in silent space far beyond the reach of the enemy fleet. The human stared out the viewport, speechless. We just jumped, faster than light. The mother bowed her head, whispering, "Yes, this is the lost gift of my people. Travel between stars, unlocked by blood, unlocked by him." The boy slumped, exhausted, his glow fading. The mother kissed his forehead, tears falling freely. The human leaned back in his seat, heart racing. He had just witnessed something that could change everything. A child who could wake ancient ships. A bloodline that could move faster than light. He whispered to himself, "No wonder they fear him." The silence of space pressed around them, but it did not last. The sensors beeped again. A faint signal appeared. Another ship. Not enemy, but watching. The human narrowed his eyes. "We're not alone." On the screen, a shadowy vessel drifted in the distance. Its design was unlike the enemy ships, but also not like the boy's people's craft. It was something different, something hidden. The mother's voice was sharp with fear. "That is not one of ours. I do not know them." The human tightened, his grip on the controls. "Then they've been waiting, watching, tracking him." The boy stirred, his glow faint but steady. He pointed weakly at the shadowy ship. His lips moved, a single word escaping. "Danger." The human's stomach dropped. The shadowy vessel lit up, its weapons charging. The alien vessel floated in the silence of space. For a brief moment it seemed as though they had escaped, but then the sensors lit up with warning lights. A dark, shadowy ship loomed ahead. Its sharp black frame looked like a blade carved from the void itself. No markings, no banners, only cold metal and glowing red eyes of its weapons. The human traveler's jaw tightened. He had seen many warships in his time, but this one carried a different weight. It was silent, patient, like a predator circling prey. The alien mother held her son close. The boy stirred weakly, his glowing marks flickering as if warning them. His small voice whispered, "Danger." The human gripped the controls. "I know," he muttered. The shadowy ship moved closer. A voice crackled across the comms, deep and commanding. "Human, hand over the child, do so and you may live." The mother's silver eyes filled with terror. She whispered, "They know. They know he is here." The human leaned forward, his voice steady but defiant. "If you want him, come and take him." For a moment, silence followed. Then the enemy, voice laughed cold and sharp. "Brave words for a dying man." The shadowy ship's weapons flared. Bright red beams shot across space. The human yanked the controls, rolling the alien vessel hard to the side. The ship shook violently, but the blasts missed by a hair. Sparks flew from the panels. The mother screamed softly, clutching her son. The boy's glow pulsed brighter, as if his small body felt the stress of the battle. The human muttered through clenched teeth, "Stay with me, kid. Don't let go." Another barrage lit the void. The human twisted the ship again, dodging. The old vessel groaned, but somehow it kept up. He had no real weapons, no shield strong enough to last. The enemy ship was larger, faster, deadlier. Logic said to surrender, but the human had never trusted logic in a fight. He growled, "I've fought, worse with less." The mother looked at him with disbelief. "You cannot win against them." He met her eyes, fire burning in his. "Maybe not, but I can make sure they don't win either." The boy suddenly pressed his glowing hand against the console again. New lights flickered across the panels. Strange alien symbols glowed. The ship hummed, shaking as hidden systems awoke. Energy flowed through the vessel stronger than before. The human stared. Kid, what are you doing? The boy's weak voice whispered. Help. Human. Fight. The mother gasped. No, my child, you are too weak. But the boy did not stop. His glow spread through the ship like veins of light. The human felt it in his hands. The controls moved smoother, sharper, as if the boy's energy had fused with the vessel itself. All right then, the human muttered. Let's fight. Together. The shadowy ship fired again. This time the human didn't dodge blindly. He twisted the vessel at the perfect angle, sliding through the blasts like water slipping through cracks. He fired back with the ship's old cannons. The beams were weak, outdated, but they struck true, surprising the enemy. The comm crackled, with anger. Foolish human, do you think you can stand against us? The human grinned, sweat running down his face. I don't think I do. The enemy unleashed a storm of fire. The void lit up with deadly red beams. The human rolled, dived, twisted, his movements wild, unpredictable. He flew not like a trained soldier, but like a reckless survivor, breaking every rule of combat. And it worked. The enemy struggled to track him. Each time they thought they had him locked, he turned at an impossible angle, using debris and dead asteroids as cover. The mother clung tightly to her son, her voice trembling. He fights like no other. The boy's glow pulsed stronger, feeding the ship with power. The vessel moved as if alive, its engines roaring louder than ever. But the human knew they couldn't keep this up forever. The enemy was too strong, too large. One mistake, and they would be destroyed. He wiped sweat from his brow, muttering, Think. Then his eyes caught something on the radar, a drifting asteroid field nearby. Thick, dense, dangerous. A perfect place to hide. Or to die, he smiled grimly. Well, I've always liked the hard way. He pushed the controls forward, driving the ship straight toward the asteroid field. The mother gasped. Are you mad? We will be crushed. The human's eyes burned with determination. Better crushed by rocks than captured by monsters. The shadowy ship chased them, firing relentlessly. Explosions lit up the asteroids as blasts shattered stone into clouds of debris. The human weaved between the giant rocks, spinning and twisting the vessel in ways no sane pilot would. The old ship groaned, but the boy's glow held it steady. The enemy followed, but their larger ship struggled in the narrow gaps. They clipped an asteroid, scraping their hull. The human laughed breathlessly. Not so easy, is it? He dove deeper, pulling tighter turns, using every ounce of human instinct and stubbornness. His hands flew across the controls like a pianist playing a desperate song. Finally, he spotted a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. It was suicide. Too small, too sharp, but he had no choice. Hold on, he shouted. The ship screamed as he forced it through. Metal scraped, panels rattled, but they made it. The shadowy ship tried to follow. Too large, too slow. It slammed into the rocks, explosions ripping across its hull. The void lit up with fire. The human exhaled, his chest burning, his hands shaking. They had survived. Barely. The mother wept with relief, kissing her son's glowing forehead. The boy's light dimmed, his small body finally resting. The human leaned back in his seat, whispering, That's human courage for you. Fight with nothing. Win with less, but then the sensors beeped again. Another signal, another ship. The human's smile faded. No, it can't be. On the screen, a massive fleet appeared, dozens of warships all bearing the same dark design. The mother's face turned pale. They have found us. All of them. The boy stirred weakly, his glow flickering once more. His lips formed one word. Run. The alien vessel drifted in silence, small and fragile against the endless darkness. Ahead, the massive fleet appeared like a wall of death. Dozens of warships filled the stars, their dark frames glowing with red weapons. The human stared at the screens, his jaw clenched. His hands gripped the controls so tightly his knuckles turned white. He had fought ships before, but never this many. One he could outfly, two he might trick, but a fleet. Impossible. The mother's silver eyes filled with despair. She pressed, her son against her chest, whispering prayers in her trembling language. Her tears fell onto his glowing skin. "They will not let us go," she whispered. "It is over." The human shook his head sharply. "Not yet. Not while I'm breathing." But, deep inside, he knew the truth. Even with his courage, even with the boy's gift, they could not outrun so many. The fleet moved like a net ready to close around them. The boy stirred weakly. His small body shivered, his glowing marks faint. He opened his eyes, stars burning inside them. He whispered a single word: "Fight." The human turned, shocked. "Kid, you don't have the strength." The boy's tiny hand reached out, glowing brighter as it touched the console. A soft hum spread through the ship. Lights flickered. Symbols lit up across the panels, symbols the human had never seen. The mother gasped, fear and awe mixing in her voice. "No, not this. He is too young. He cannot control it." But the boy did not stop. His glow spread across the ship like veins of fire. The vessel trembled, its metal groaning as if awakening from a deeper sleep. The human felt it too. The controls vibrated under his hands, no longer just machines. It was as though the ship itself was alive, breathing, waiting. The fleet ahead opened fire. Dozens of beams lit up the void, a storm of red light racing toward them. The human pulled the controls to dodge, but before he could, the boy's glow exploded. A barrier of pure blue light burst around the vessel. The beams struck, but instead of tearing through the hull, they bent away like water around stone. The ship remained untouched. The mother gasped, covering her mouth. "He shielded us." The human stared in disbelief. "That's impossible." The boy's glow grew brighter. His small voice whispered, "Not impossible." The ship roared to life. Engines flared with burning blue. Panels lit with ancient star maps and hidden systems. The boy sat straighter now, his body still weak, but his power pouring out like a river. The human felt energy rush through the controls, steady and sure. "You're not just keeping us alive, that you're steering us." The boy's glowing eyes locked onto the fleet ahead. His voice trembled, but his words were clear. "We fight." The fleet adjusted, spreading wide, surrounding them on all sides. More cannons fired, more red beams rained down. The boy's glow pulsed again. The barrier thickened, humming with strange energy. Each blast bent, twisted, and flared away. Some beams even turned back, striking the enemy ships. Explosions lit the fleet as two vessels were torn apart by their own fire. The mother clutched her chest, whispering, "He is awakening." The gift of our ancestors. The power they feared. The human didn't waste the chance. "Kid, if you're fighting, then I'll fly." He pushed the ship forward. It moved like lightning now, faster, sharper, alive. He darted between enemy blasts, weaving through the fleet. The boy's barrier protected them, the glow turning every deadly hit into harmless light. The human laughed breathlessly, adrenaline burning in his veins. "Now this is a fight." They shot past one warship. The boy's glow pulsed, and suddenly, the enemy vessel's systems flickered, its weapons shutting down. It drifted powerless, floating dead in space. The mother's voice trembled. "He can reach into their ships, he can break them with a thought." The boy's small body shook, sweat dripping from his silver skin, but his eyes burned with light. Each time they passed an enemy ship, something broke inside it. Cannons died, engines failed, shields cracked. The fleet that had looked invincible now trembled before a child. But the human could see the cost. The boy's glow flickered each time he used his power. His breathing grew shallow, his small frame trembling harder. The human shouted, "Kid, stop. You'll burn yourself out." The boy shook his head weakly. No. Must protect. The human's chest tightened. He had seen soldiers fight until death, burning themselves to ash for their cause. But seeing a child do the same, it tore at him. He growled, "Not on my watch, you hear me? You're not dying today." He pushed the ship through the gaps in the fleet, weaving through the chaos the boy created. Explosions burst behind them as crippled warships collided. But then, the enemy flagship moved. Larger than all the others, its dark frame blocked out the stars. Its weapons glowed brighter than suns. The mother gasped. That ship, it is their heart, their commander. The human's eyes narrowed. Then we take out the heart. The flagship fired. A beam thicker than a mountain cut through space, striking their barrier. For the first time, the glow cracked. The boy screamed, his small body arching in pain. The barrier flickered, nearly breaking. The mother cried out, holding him tight. "Stop! You will kill him!" The human gritted his teeth, sweat dripping down his face. "Hold on, kid, just hold on." The flagship charged again. The boy's glow surged, brighter than ever, flooding the cabin with light. His voice, small, but filled with fire, echoed, "No. More." The ship itself responded. Energy burst from every panel. Symbols glowed like fire. And then, a beam of pure blue light erupted from the vessel, tearing through the void. It struck the flagship head-on, cutting across its hull like a blade through paper. The flagship shook. Explosions ripped across its frame. The fleet cried out in alarm, their comms filled with chaos. The boy collapsed, his glow fading to a soft flicker. The mother screamed his name, tears streaming. The human steadied the ship, his heart pounding. He did it. He brought down the giant. But the sensors beeped again. From the darkness beyond, more signals appeared. Reinforcements. The human's jaw clenched. Damn it, they're not finished. He turned to the mother. Her face was pale, full of fear and grief. The boy lay limp in her arms, his glow faint as dying embers. The human whispered, "He gave us this chance. Now it's up to me." The enemy fleet regrouped, their guns turning toward the lone ship. The human set his jaw, his eyes sharp. Time to show them what human courage really means. The alien vessel drifted weakly in space. Smoke rose from broken panels, sparks flickered across the controls, and the engines groaned like a wounded beast. The human traveler sat in the pilot's seat, his hands trembling from exhaustion. His face was lit by the faint glow of warning lights. Across from him, the alien mother held her son tightly. The boy's glow had faded to almost nothing. His small chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. He looked less like a child of prophecy and more like a candle about to burn out. The mother wept silently, her tears falling onto his silver skin. He gave too much. He cannot give more. But outside the ship, the enemy fleet regrouped. Dozens of dark warships spread across the stars like vultures circling prey. Their weapons glowed with red fire, ready to strike. The human clenched his jaw. He had seen impossible battles before, but never one this hopeless. He whispered to himself, "This is it. One ship, one human, against a fleet." The comms crackled. The same cold, commanding voice echoed through the speakers. "Human, surrender the child. You cannot win. Your death will mean nothing, but his capture will end the curse. Hand him over." The human's grip tightened on the controls. His eyes burned with fury. "Over my dead body." The enemy laughed, cruel and certain. So be it. The fleet's cannons began to charge, glowing brighter, ready to unleash a storm that would rip them apart. The human's chest tightened. He turned to the mother. "If I fight, we may all die. If I surrender, they'll take him. You know what that means?" The mother's voice shook. "It means the galaxy will burn. His power in their hands will destroy everything." The human nodded slowly. "Then I have only one choice." He looked at the boy. His small hand twitched weakly, reaching out. Even in his near sleep, he seemed to know the weight of the moment. The human took that hand gently, holding it between his calloused fingers. He whispered, "You've done enough, kid. Rest now. Let me carry this one." The boy's dim eyes flickered open, glowing faintly. His voice was almost silent. Man, don't leave." The human's throat tightened, but he forced a smile. "I'm not leaving. I'm finishing what we started." The mother stared at him, realizing his plan. Her voice cracked with desperation. "No, you cannot sacrifice yourself. You are all we have. You are his shield." The human turned his head toward her, his face calm, steady. "He's not just your child anymore, he's ours. And I'll protect him until my last breath." Outside, the fleet's weapons reached full power. The void glowed with red light. The human closed his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply. Memories flashed. His lonely travels, the battles he had fought, the lives he had seen broken by war. And now, in this boy's glowing eyes, he saw something he had never seen before. Hope. He whispered to himself, "This is what humanity does. We protect. We fight for those who can't." He opened his eyes, fire burning inside them. Time for one last trick. The human slammed his hands on the controls. The old vessel roared to life, its engines screaming as he pushed it forward. Straight at the enemy fleet. The mother cried out, "What are you doing?" "Buying time," he growled. "Hold him tight. No matter what happens, don't let go." The vessel shot forward, weaving between enemy fire. Blasts shook the hull, sparks flew, alarms screamed. But the human kept going, pushing faster, wilder, reckless. The fleet closed around them, their massive guns tracking his every move. The boy stirred again, weak but glowing brighter. His small voice whispered, "Together." The human felt the warmth in his hand. The boy's glow spread through the ship one last time, fusing with the controls, with the engines, with him. The mother gasped, eyes wide. "He is giving you his strength." The human's heart pounded. He felt it, power rushing through him, through the vessel. For the first time, he and the child were not separate. They were one. The human shouted, his voice fierce, "Let's show them what a human and a child can do." The ship blazed forward, wrapped in a storm of blue light. Enemy fire bent away, exploding harmlessly in space. The vessel became a comet. Unstoppable. They charged straight at the flagship, the largest, most powerful ship in the fleet. The comms crackled with panic. "Stop them! Destroy them now!" But it was too late. The boy's glow surged, brighter than ever before. The human roared as he drove the ship head-on. A massive beam of blue energy erupted, tearing through the void, slicing into the flagship's core. The explosion was blinding. The flagship shattered, flames erupting across its body. Shockwaves ripped through the fleet, tearing smaller ships apart. The enemy scattered in chaos, broken and defeated. In the heart of it all, the alien vessel drifted, burned, battered, but alive. Inside, silence, smoke, sparks. The mother opened her eyes slowly. She saw her son, faintly glowing, still breathing. Alive. She turned to the pilot's seat. The human slumped forward, his hands still gripping the controls, his chest rising weakly. He had given everything, but he had not let go. The mother whispered, tears in her voice, You saved him. You saved us all." The boy stirred, his glowing hand reaching toward the human. His small voice, faint but steady, whispered, "Hero." The human smiled weakly, closing his eyes for a moment. "No, just human." The stars outside burned with the light of victory. The enemy fleet was broken. The child was alive. And the galaxy had just witnessed the courage of one human who refused to surrender. But deep in the shadows, far beyond their sight, other eyes were watching, other empires, other enemies. The boy's light had been seen. His awakening could not be hidden. Anymore, the galaxy would never be the same.